Hello, and welcome back to Bible Wits Bible Corner. Today we're going to get back in the book of Acts. I'm going to read chapter 26, verses 1 through 8, starting in the English Standard Version. So Agrippa said to Paul, "You have permission to speak for yourself." Then Paul stretched out his hand and made his defense. "I consider myself fortunate that it is before you, King Agrippa, I am going to make my defense today against all the accusations of the Jews, especially because you are familiar with the customs and controversies of the Jews. Therefore, I beg you to listen to me patiently. My manner of life from my youth spent from the beginning among my own nation and in Jerusalem is known by all the Jews. They have known for a long time, if they are willing to testify, that according to the strictest party of our religion, I have lived as a Pharisee. And now I stand here on trial because of my hope in the promise made by God to our fathers, to which our 12 tribes hope to attain as they earnestly worship night and day. And for this hope I am accused by the Jews, O King. Why is it thought incredible by any of you that God raises the dead?" New Century Version. Agrippa said to Paul, "You may now speak to defend yourself." Then Paul raised his hand and began to speak. He said, "King Agrippa, I am very happy to stand before you and will answer all the charges the evil people make against me. You know so much about all the customs and the things they argue about, so please listen to me patiently. All my people know about my whole life, how I lived from the beginning in my own country and later in Jerusalem. They have known me for a long time. If they want to, they can tell you that I was a good Pharisee. And the Pharisees obey the laws of my nation more carefully than any other group. Now I am on trial because I hope for the promise that God made to our ancestors. This is the promise that the 12 tribes of our people hope to receive as they serve God day and night. My king, they have accused me because I hope for this same promise. Why do any of you people think it is impossible for God to raise people from the dead?" Okay, so here we got Paul finally making his testimony, his defense. He is not before Caesar yet, but still he is able to have his voice heard. Here, there's two things I like about his defense here. The first is he doesn't hide anything. He openly admits that he lived as a Pharisee, but not only that, he basically says, don't just take my word for it. He says, you can ask any Jew in Jerusalem or where I grew up, any Jew, they know I lived as a Pharisee. The other thing I like about this is he gives a history lesson. Now, we are not necessarily to always look back at history, because if we continue to look back, then we can't see where we're going trying to move forward. History is there for us to learn from, so that in the case of here, we can look back at the Old Testament, we can see the promises that were made, and we can do what we need to do to try to live towards those same promises of eternity in heaven. Now, these 12 tribes, they were told, hey, I will bring forth a man that will come from one of you 12 tribes. He will live on this earth and he will die, and later, 3 days later, be raised from the dead. Now, the Jews were not necessarily blind to this concept, because you can even go back to Elijah, where he raised someone from the dead. So the Jews knew that stuff like this could happen. They just didn't think it could happen the way it happened to Jesus. because there was not a man on earth that raised Jesus from the dead. So that's why they didn't think that was possible. But either way, we have this same hope that we need to live for today. We have these same promises of spending eternity in heaven that we need to strive to live towards each day. What we need to do is we need to be like Paul here and speak boldly, speak with confidence, not arrogance, but confidence about this hope, so that other people can understand, and hopefully in doing so, in defending our faith, we can bring others to Christ and they can learn about him and they can get a great amount of zeal and defend their faith in the future as well. So I hope you find encouragement in this, and I hope you have a wonderful God-centered day. Bye.